I just hiked 17 kilometers to Llewellyn Lake in Banff National Park to talk about some of the ways in which I was wrong. Now, before you jump all over this in the comments, I'm specifically talking about ways that I was wrong in what I believed about backpacking before I started backpacking. We all have ideas about things before we start doing the things, and usually we're totally incorrect. So this is all about things that I used to think were backpacking things that really aren't. When I started backpacking, I 100% thought that you had to know survival skills. You had to know bushcraft, you had to know knots, you had to have knives, you had to know how to pitch a tarp in the storm when your tent gets eaten by a bear, and you had to learn how to forage and find your own food, and that is completely wrong. I think I own 6 tarps and 3 tents, I want to say. And I don't think any one of them requires a knot. Now, that's not to say that knots aren't useful, or that your Boy Scout training won't come in handy. There's lots of things that you can use a good knot for, especially if something fails in your gear or you need to secure something you didn't expect to secure somewhere, or whatever you need. But you don't need them to go backpacking. After I picked up the basic gear that I needed, the essential stuff, I really thought I was going to just pack up and go to the mountains every weekend. I was going to keep my bag packed in my trunk and just drive and see where I got to, and then I was going to backpack there. And that feeling of spontaneity that I thought came with backpacking really isn't part of backpacking. Backpacking, there's a lot of planning and a lot of time spent in where you're going to go and how you're going to get there and who knows where you are, and the things that are needed to keep you safe. Backpacking is not a spontaneous thing. It's not a spur of the moment thing. I guess at a certain point, if you have enough experience and you know an area well enough and you want to do that, you can. But if you're just getting into it like I was, and like I probably still am, then it's not spontaneous at all. I thought that I would be spending a lot more time alone. Most of the trails that I go to, most of the places that I frequent, most of the trips that I go on share parking lots with pretty high traffic trails, and a lot of them connect with other well-known backpacking routes and other trips that people are on. So it's actually pretty uncommon for me to take a backpacking trip and not see other people, whether I'm camping within 100 yards of somebody, or whether that's if there's people hiking by my campsite in the morning or things like that. I expected that I would be spending a lot of time in like what I thought would be like real isolation, and it's just not the case. For me, one of the things I wanted to get into this for was to spend a lot of time alone. So it was actually something I was disappointed by. I think I'm starting to come around and think it's probably a pro instead of a con. But for the first few years, I actually was upset that there were other people on my mountains. I didn't want them there. But I guess I'm okay with it now. I also used to believe that backpacking would be all about suffering, that I would have to endure things in order to come out the other side and have that experience. But that's not really the case. I mean, this sleeping pad is 3.5 inches thick, 4 inches on the sides to keep me from rolling off. I've got a comfortable pillow. I've got a down quilt that keeps me warm below freezing, and I'm pretty much living a pretty luxurious life right now. Even if it was a thunderstorm and raining and pouring, I could still just hang out in here and watch a movie or play a game or read a book. Same thing as I'd be doing anywhere else. I just get to do them here.
I think the reason that I'm starting to be okay with other people being around while I'm backpacking is that even though backpacking is kind of an individual sport, or maybe something you do with like a small group, it's not really a big team event. There's a really strong sense of community in backpacking because you realize that anybody else who's out here is your support network and you're theirs. So I've never met anyone on a trail that I've been like camping close to or spending time at camp with or run across that was out here in this community that wasn't here to enjoy nature and spend some time away from civilization and challenge themselves. And it's just some of the aspects of the backpacking community are really, really cool, and that reflects on YouTube, right? Like you could see that in the YouTubers that exist and the community that is there between them and the way that they all want to see each other win and challenge each other, and it's a very, very cool thing. And I think that is just an extension of the backpacking community as a whole, and I don't know, maybe the outdoor enthusiast community as a whole. But it's just one of the things I really, really respect about people out here. I think it comes down to I just respect people out here, which is good because that's one of the principles of Leave No Trace. You do not need to be in the prime of your life or in the best shape of your life. I obviously am. I thought that when I started that I needed to build up my stamina and I needed to pump some weights and I need to build some core strength. And now you do need to have an understanding of what your limitations are and operate within them and then stretch them slowly. But you don't need to go out and crush miles and hike 25 kilometers every day and be that guy. The first trip I went on was 2 kilometers and there was a toddler there when I got there. When I did the rock wall earlier in July, there was a 72-year-old lady that I sat around the campfire with. This is not a sport or an event or a hobby that you need to really be ready for physically. I think you need to be ready mentally, and that's something I didn't understand when I started, is that you need to understand your limitations and then plan your trips and do your backpacking around what you're comfortable with. That's why there's no one right size fits all for backpacking. You can go backpacking in your neighborhood. You can go backpacking at the top of a mountain. You can go backpacking to a pond. Like, it doesn't really matter where you go. As long as you bring your tent on your shoulders, it's backpacking. Because I never understood that backpacking was different for everybody and that it meant something different to each person, I never understood that gear would be the same thing. When I started backpacking, I thought, I'll go on Amazon. It's got to be one size fits all. Backpacking, backpacking, stove, backpacking, shoes, backpacking, coat, backpacking, everything. And I thought it was kind of I could just get the same version as everybody else and just do a thing. And I came to find out rather quickly, no, don't get me wrong, I did do that, and I did buy basically everything for my first trip off Amazon. And I did it. My pack weighed about 35 pounds, and I was exhausted. But it got me in to the idea of doing this, and what could I do to make myself more comfortable on trail? What could I do to improve my experience? And that's what I learned that kind of debunked the one-size-fits-all thing, is backpacking gear is such a personal preference. So if someone ever says, you need to get this, you don't. You could try it, but it doesn't mean you need to get it. Let's talk animals. When I started backpacking, I thought, there's animals everywhere, and I'm gonna get eaten. And while I'm not going to say that that's not a possibility, I am going to say it's not the norm. And as long as you do the right things, then realistically, the wildlife wants nothing to do with you. And that's something I never knew. I thought they were coming for me, and they were like just all out there waiting for backpackers. And to this day, me personally, I have never seen a bear or a wolf on trail. This trip, I did, however, see a mountain chicken and 2 baby chicks. I saw lots of mice. I saw some squirrels and some chipmunks. And not one of them were out to get me. In fact, the mountain chicken didn't even get out of the way. There's baby bird number 1. Mama bird. Baby bird number 2. She just kind of hung out there. So that's one thing that I was totally wrong about. The wildlife is not out to get you. That's a lie. I have seen a bear. However, the only times I've ever seen bears are on the highway. And someone way in front of me saw one on the trail and it ran away. So I've had 3 bear encounters in my entire life. 2 of them were on the highway and I just drove by. And one of them was really someone else's encounter. If you're new here, or if you have never seen me before, my name's Nathan, and this is Backpacker-ish. I wouldn't really consider myself a backpacker, but I love backpacking and I love spending time in the mountains. So this channel is all about getting you some information, some education, and some ideas about backpacking in general, so that you can start to get out safely and responsibly on your own. And if you're in the southern Alberta area, give you some ideas on where you can and can't go and what you can and can't do and what it'll be like when you get there.